business owners and executives from around the Valley. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Hello everybody and welcome to Business Leaders here on KMPH Fox 26. My name is Lance Cardoza and I'm joined by Debbie Hunsaker. And Debbie, you're the president and CEO of Alert-O-Lite. And if you're from the Valley, you've seen your company's name somewhere on a highway or on a street, probably on a construction sign, and you see the name Alert-O-Lite. And tell us about your company. And how are you doing? It's been a long time. I haven't seen you. During the pandemic, we all sort of just went into our caves and our little bubble of world.
Right.
And how's things been?
Well, it's been, like I was telling the guy out in the lobby, it's been like a box of chocolates. You just don't ever know what each day is going to bring. Every time you think you've got it set, then you get that little curveball, and it's like, I like to call it plot twist. You just kind of change the story, and now you're going down that road. But we've been hanging in there. We were very fortunate that we were considered essential, which brought some good things and also brought some challenges. But I have a great staff, and they powered through it with me.
You do, a great staff, and I want to get into the different areas of Alert-O-Lite, the company. And I don't think a lot of people realize they're not just traffic control. There's a lot to the business, and I also want to talk about the store. Because you do have an amazing store, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk about, we're getting ready for a big celebration that's coming up, and it's August 13th, 50 years, right, of Alert-O-Lite?
Yeah, hard to believe it was 50 years ago that Dad started this.
He started the company 50 years ago. I was born in 1971. So I just celebrated.
So you really relate.
I celebrated my 50th on July 10th, so I always remember when I think I had talked to you and we interviewed maybe radio or somewhere along the line, and I was telling your dad's story, and it was pretty exciting to know, I have something to celebrate. And I believe KMPH, Fox 26 has got 50 years coming up too.
Yeah.
So
it's a great year, right?
Yeah, it's a great year in 1971. So tell me about, Dad was a great mentor, and your dad, tell me about him and what he built and then where it is today.
Well, how it started out was strictly by accident. My dad and his brothers and my grandfather had always been in construction. And then he got hurt on a job site trying to save a guy. Trench started caving in. So he jumped in to help him out, and it caved in on him and broke his hip. So he became an office guy and purchasing, and so when that company closed their doors, my uncles got together with them and said, you know what, you need to start a traffic control company. Back then there was only one other traffic control company in town. So he did that and built the company based on service. Him and a friend of my uncle's went in together, and they would go out on Sundays and literally go wipe off every barricade light to make sure it was clean and shiny.
Clean and shiny.
Yeah.
And that's what I talk about. You see your logo all over, or the branding on all the traffic control signs. And so he was really big on quality and customer service.
Quality and customer service, yeah.
And I know that's a trait you carried through, and I see that with some of your customers that I know personally, and they do business with you not because you have clean barricades or you have clean traffic control tail, but they do it because of your people and the service that you bring. And I've always championed you as a company, as a leader, that you really do have a lot of people that see you're more family to them than anything, that do business with you. Yeah.
So we have people that have dealt with us for as long as I could remember, and there's crew that have been with us a long time, that were here when Dad was alive. So we all kind of grew up together. When we were younger, we'd hang out as young people, and then we all have families, and then our kids grew up together. And I pride ourselves too in most of the guys, one member or another of their family have started their working career at Alert-O-Lite, and that's how they get their experience on what it's like to have a job. And then they go on to bigger and better things, that they're really wanting to do. Some have stayed, and it's just kind of cool. I've had whole families working there.
And it gives you a start, and it gives you sort of you take that customer service everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And you start it there, and they learn what your father set out for you, and you make sure your teams are doing the same thing. Talk about the different facets of the company. So not just Alert-O-Lite, but there's 3 or 4 different.
Yeah, what we did when Dad started the company, he rented a small piece of my uncle's construction yard, and then we moved to G Street, which is where we have been up until we moved because of high-speed rail, just catty corner.
Yeah.
And so he started out with a few shovels and brooms and hard hats, and then of course the traffic control stuff. And back then, my younger brother and sister, we had to help build all that stuff, and you didn't have the sheeting and all the easy things like you do now.
Yeah.
We had to do the glass beads, and nowadays Dad would probably go to prison because of child labor laws, but yeah, we got to do all that fun stuff.
You remember those days, I'm
yes,
sure.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I think his goal was that helps you appreciate what you have, and we all literally started at the bottom and worked our way up, and so as he kept expanding things, and after he passed away, then I just stayed with that philosophy that you figure out what it is that you could do that's going to help make your customer's job that much more efficient. Mm-hmm. So we have expanded, and we took our sign company and made it a separate company, and it's called SignMax. And they do all kinds of signs and banners and graphics and wraps. And then when the high-speed rail came, if we wanted to work on that job, then we needed to be able to do union work. So we started another company. That's all they do is public works and that kind of work. So
and that's Hunsaker.
Hunsaker Safety and Sign, yeah.
Hunsaker Safety and Sign, okay. Because I saw there's 2 different logos. There's the overall Alert-O-Lite, and then so that makes sense. Okay, and then SignMax. And SignMax is inside the store that we were talking about.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, and before we even get to talk about the store, I drove by G Street. And I looked just the other day. Does it bring back memories when you drive by and it's just a dirt lot? It's where it all started. And now you're in this crown jewel of a space. Does it bring back memories?
Who would have thunk it? Yeah. I still remember when I have pictures of my son and I and a couple of the guys that have been there a long time, us toasting to Dad when we took our last load out of there. And then I think the hardest part was, because that was bittersweet, but I was thinking he's looking down and he's going to be so proud of this building.
Proud of where you are. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he always wanted to have a big hardware store like that. So I know he would be proud. But it was sad though when it got caught on fire, and that was harder on me than the other. Yeah.
And now things change. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Debbie Hunsaker with Alert-O-Lite, President and CEO of Alert-O-Lite. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders. Don't go away.